Hi, my name is Ophi YouTube Videos. I am a feminist and a lesbian, and I make conversational commentary videos about both of those things. Specifically, I spend a lot of time talking about what I call the misogyny slop ecosystem, a content model that encourages the worst and most misogynistic and bigoted instincts in both the creators who are constantly on the lookout for the next high-profile misogynistic smear campaign to take part in, and in their audiences, who enjoy this sort of content so much that they reward these creators with their attention, their comments, their AdSense, and engage in this sort of self-perpetuating women hate feedback loop forever. There are bad actors who come in and amplify these narratives for the benefit of a crisis PR client, say, who might have been accused of abuse or harassment, or in order to win the court of public opinion during a breakup, or for any number of reasons. This is an important part of the misogyny slop ecosystem theory, but not the most important part. The most important part of my theory here is that this would not work and would not be able to be successfully astroturfed if this self-perpetuating feedback loop did not already exist. This feedback loop, whether crisis PR drops in and gets involved or not, picks up on our existing and already culturally rewarded biases: misogyny, racism, ableism, fatphobia, etc., and it allows us an acceptable target to aim all of that at. And these sort of almost predetermined scripts that a lot of the content in this ecosystem falls into speaks to my theory, I think. I don't mean people are getting direct lines from these bad actors. I don't mean they're even realizing that they're all saying the same things, but this is something I have found really hard to miss over the last year or so. So I notice. I notice when everyone is always saying the same thing, always making the same goddamn joke about a woman. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I know by now you've already been inundated with think pieces about Wicked Part 2, the Wicked press tour, the bodies of the cast, the marriage of the guy who played SpongeBob, etc., etc. But I just want to talk about Cynthia Erivo for a bit today, and specifically, I want to talk about the way she is being characterized in this wave of YouTube shorts that are being relentlessly, endlessly pushed to me over the last few days. And to do that, I would like to play a little game I call What's the Joke? I want to teach you how to do this because it's something you should be doing whenever there's a flurry of the same sort of content over and over again about a particular woman, some of which you'll likely see again and again from the same offenders, just updated for whichever talking points are most catchy about whatever woman it's been deemed fun to shit on that month. Alright, let's start here with a joke I feel I've seen repeated in at least a dozen unfunny ways since the first time I saw it. Ready? Live from the misogyny slop ecosystem, it is time to play What's the Joke?
Your favorite
Do not talk to her.
Oh, I have an eyelash
What's,
in my eye.
no. Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. What's going on, darling?
It's just an eyelash.
Darling. Oh my god, eyelash.
Okay. Alright, okay, so the joke is, let me see here. The joke is that Cynthia Erivo is overprotective of Ariana Grande in such a way that just so happens to slot her neatly into existing and misogynistic stereotypes about black women being aggressive, and in a way that doesn't actually really reflect her real-life mannerisms in these interviews whatsoever. That's the joke? And again, this is an ecosystem. This is not an original joke these two women are making. Woman hate call and response jokes like this never are. They're never clever, they're never inventive, they're never actually speaking to anything worth dedicating your energy to. They're just acting like the seagulls in Finding Nemo, where they all just endlessly echo the same thing to each other over and over and over again until it stops getting thousands and thousands of likes and comments. It doesn't stop until somebody else says something they can echo about some other woman. And it seems like these two women in particular did film quite a bit of content dedicated to denigrating Cynthia and making fun of her and Ariana. They're not the only ones doing this. Far from it. I bring them up not because I want anyone to go and harass them. It's why I'm not showing you the username. This isn't an account I follow or even regularly interact with. Their misogyny slop just repeatedly came up for me in what YouTube is pushing, either on their own uploads or when it was included in compilation clips of the best mean-spirited parodies of Cynthia and Ariana. Like this one, that was helpfully collated for me as the top 5 from some other random YouTube account I've never interacted with before in my shorts feed. And look, this very first one is the exact same joke. They're telling the same joke, that people are just interacting normally with Ariana Grande, and Cynthia is being really aggressive and angry for no reason. It's the first one on the list. This is a very popular joke. So we're gonna do another round, okay? Ready? What's the joke?
Ariana, over here. What's your favorite food, Ariana? Don't touch her. Don't touch her. Damn, Cynthia. Don't touch her. God damn, Cynthia. What's wrong with you?
Oh, okay. Jesus Christ. The joke is that she is not only an aggressive, angry black woman, but also that she is like a man in a dress. Not that I even think being a man in a dress is a bad thing. Some of my favorite men wear skirts, but this reel is just shockingly misogynoristic. I could not ask for a better example of the ways femininity is stripped away from black women than to show somebody this reel and ask them to imagine how many racist white people laughed at it. I bet it was a lot. But these guys made the same joke as those little girly pops did, aside from doing drag about it. Did you notice? The joke here is someone was asking Ariana something completely and totally innocuous, and then Cynthia steps in to be overprotective and aggressive and threatening to the innocent person just trying to participate in a media press tour for the movie we're all seeing them promote. How unreasonable! Right? Right? Okay, here's the other thing about what's the joke, and we'll play another round after to make sure you really get it. You can't just figure out what the joke is, you also have to figure out why they're making it. I mean, aside from just fucking misogynoir, there must be something to this, right? It's repeated over and over again in these clips. Look, I've got another one.
Because get off of her! Get off of her!
She's just How dare you! Look what you've done to her!
This has gotta be coming from somewhere, right? Obviously. So, what's the joke? I googled Cynthia Erivo yells at interviewer, and I couldn't find anything similar to this, not even in the sparse handful of results from last year's press tour. So my best estimation for this, especially considering the way these creators keep using phrasing like get off of her or don't touch her, is that this is a joke that has spun off of what happened at the Singapore premiere of Wicked, when somebody with a history of doing this sort of thing to famous women rushed Ariana, grabbed her and put his arm around her, and had to be escorted away by security. Security, who we know from the clip, did not notice until after Cynthia Erivo noticed. She was the first to spring into action. She tries to take the assailant's arm off of Ariana, and wouldn't you know it, what she yells seems to be, "Get off of her, do not touch her." So, that's the joke, right? The joke here is not only that Cynthia Erivo is supposedly some aggressive, threatening, scary black woman, but also the joke is that her friend got ambushed at a premiere and Cynthia was protective, stepped in to try to protect her friend from assault, told somebody who was touching somebody against their will not to touch that person. That's the joke. That's what people are thinking is funny and no big deal and analogous to some interviewer just asking some random question. All of these clips are filmed as though somebody wasn't doing anything wrong and Cynthia just went berserk. And that's in all those really ugly animated parodies too. This is all over the place.
Stop! What did you do to her? No! Stop it! Oh my god. Do anything to her. You stop it. How dare you? How dare you hurt her?
And to try to be a little bit fairer than I want to be to any of these creators or the hundreds of others they're all surely mutually ripping off as well, part of me has to wonder how many of the people making this joke even understand that they're making this joke, that this is what's being mocked. Do they get that? Like, serious question, do they get that? How do you sit down and feel okay with sitting there giving yourself those dumbass post-it note manicure nails and mocking her for this? I know that some people would either way, even if they knew what the joke was. The same sort of people who made TikToks mocking Amber Heard's testimony during her court trial, who got the same sort of online points for doing this sort of thing. The same type of people who love it when Saturday Night Live does this sort of mean-spirited parody, and who are appreciative of the fact that it's now been so democratized that any mean, terrible person with a smartphone can participate in that kind of cruel mockery themselves. I do imagine that that has to be a large share of the people who participate in this kind of theatric mocking, but there has to be some portion of people making these jokes who don't understand what they're referencing. right? Like, in order to maintain some grasp of faith in humanity, I want to try to imagine that at least some of these TikTokers are just doing a ripoff of a ripoff of somebody else's joke, and that they didn't sit down and map through in their mind that the funniest thing to giggle at right now would be mocking Cynthia for stepping in to try to protect her friend. At which point, they are still doing evil shit, to be clear. They're still being wildly misogynoristic. They should still be embarrassed with themselves, and they're also just impressively uncurious. It's not a level of grace that I think should come with forgiveness for anybody participating in it, just a level of understanding that forces me to realize anybody participating in this who didn't realize that they were being evil is just the most uncurious motherfucker imaginable. They are willing to repackage other people's jokes for their own AdSense and likes, and they're not even willing to ask what the joke is before they retell it, let alone before they laugh at it. That's why I think it's important to talk about this kind of thing. It's so important to ask yourself this question, to wonder what the joke is. Nobody else is going to ask that for you, they're just going to expect you to laugh. Okay, let's do another round. We're gonna go multimedia for this one. Hey look, there are those same girls again.
This is okay.
We're inseparable. Like, I go with her and I sit on her lap when she pees.
Yes.
Like,
I'm going to cough in her presence. I cast a spell on you.
Okay, alright. The joke is that they're inappropriate with each other, I think. That's all over these. Also, did you notice in the one with those guys earlier, the long nails everybody is giving themselves with sticky notes? Do you understand when you look at this that it's a pretty safe bet someone willing to do that kind of caricature would probably do blackface if it wouldn't get them canceled? Like, is that how that scans to you? It's how it scans to me. Don't come at me and tell me Cynthia just has long nails. I know she does, but this feels so insanely racist. Does dressing in green not denote who you're meant to be enough for your audience? Must everyone try to outdo each other with the same shitty prop nails? I'm mostly focusing on reenactment mockery, but there's a ton of body language analysis of the affection shown between Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Think of how many times you saw that pinky hold from last year. Think of how many people have made videos telling you that these women are codependent, that their friendship is worrying in some way. And think about how that's being portrayed in these little skits for me, alright? Think about how Ariana is cast as weak and feminine and dainty and vulnerable, and the way Cynthia is cast in opposition to that. Cast as aggressive and unfeminine and loud and unpleasant, and contrary to every interview appearance I've actually ever seen from this woman. Think of how people are reacting to seeing affection between these two women, and ask yourselves, this is homophobic, right? That seems to be a large part of the joke. And if you don't believe me yet that it is, take a look at this post I saw circulated even by people who were hedging it with, oh my god, is this real? Or, I don't care if this is real, I'm sharing it anyway because it's funny.
Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande stun as they reveal they are in a non-demi-curious, semi-binary relationship. Cynthia explained, "It means we are not actually a couple, but we are curious about what that could mean and everything." She demented. Heart.
Just call yourself gay. Fuck you.
Are you really gonna look at me and tell me that that is not homophobic? You might argue with me about the long post-it note nails, but I will just think your analysis is lacking if you don't understand that this is homophobic. Honestly, I don't even know that homophobia is the exact right word for that post and the sense of humor being furthered by it. I think it's queerphobia in particular. Maybe I just think that because I saw this post being shared by gay meme pages and in groups where I know that there are a lot of gay members who would love to say that they don't tolerate homophobic jokes. And this is a sort of humor that I see a lot in those spaces that really grinds my gears, the kind that even some other gay people indulge in without thinking about how easily the bigots and homophobes of the world will laugh along with them. The kind of humor that carries with it not only the homophobia straight people from outside the community will project onto it, but a sort of smug, self-righteous, not like other gays from the gay people who perpetuate it because they are indulging in their urge to impress their oppressors. This post, much of the discourse around Cynthia and Ariana, it is homophobic. And remember, I said we should figure out why they're making a joke. Here's all the context you need for why this is homophobic. Google the words Cynthia Erivo queer. That's it. That's all, really. I should be able to leave it at that. Cynthia Erivo is a queer woman, and she is being painted with the predatory lesbian stereotype from both inside and outside of her community. She's corrupting this delicate, innocent, feminine heterosexual. That's the joke. That is so much of the joke here, and it's been driving me crazy. It makes my eye twitch every time a new one of these reels comes across my feed. Every time I make the mistake of looking in the comments and seeing people giggling about how it's so accurate and Cynthia and Ariana make them so uncomfortable. And sometimes they also traffic in this jokey faux scolding, oh, you guys better hope Cynthia doesn't see this. The joke there being not only the continuation of this angry, aggressive black woman stereotype we've been seeing, but also her famously feeling hurt and defensive over a fan edit that was made during the first Wicked press tour, where a fan edited the poster with her and Ariana to more closely mirror the Broadway poster, and Cynthia posted about feeling hurt by the erasure of her features in this fan art. That's something she got a lot of flack for, but that I understood at the time, and also especially understood when I finally saw Wicked Part 1. Of course, Cynthia was upset about her eyes being erased in the poster. So much of how she portrayed that character came down to the nuances she was adding with her facial expressions, and especially with her eyes. Cynthia Erivo is stunningly, remarkably talented. As an actress, as a singer, as a performer, she is a gorgeous queer black woman, and the level of racism, homophobia, and mockery being directed at her, even by people who would swear up and down that's never something they would do, feels so extremely cruel. It feels so cruel that this seems like it's also part of the fun, part of the joke, to imagine how much she rightfully might not like all of this that they're doing. These people are clearly crossing their fingers for an Instagram story they can use to milk further content. But even if she doesn't give them that satisfaction, they're just going to twist things that any empathetic person with a heart or a brain should understand are not good butts of a joke, no matter how many likes it might pull in for them on TikTok. Honestly, even if you're not participating in these jokes, are you participating in going out of your way to comment on how strange you think the relationship between Cynthia and Ariana is? Are you in comment sections opining about how you just think they're codependent, or you're just so annoyed at having to see them everywhere and you're too much of a delicate little baby to moderate your own media consumption? Are you participating in the weird, fervent hope that people have that these women will stop being friends after their promotion for the movie is over? Did you have annoying things to say about their matching tattoos? I bring all this up because you don't just need to ask what the joke is, you need to ask what you are reinforcing. And I think when you go out of your way to cast Cynthia this way, when you go out of your way to complain as though you've been Clockwork Orange toothpick eyelids forced into watching their every press appearance, as if we don't all have the option to just continue scrolling whenever we get served that deceptively edited clip as though they're crying about a helicopter passing during an interview. What you say about these women matters, and you need to think about what you are propping up. And even if you know you're not propping up these individual and bigoted narratives about Cynthia herself, what narratives are you propping up about the concept of friendship between women? Why is that something that seems so important to demonize right now, at a time when women should be having solidarity with each other, when women should be stepping in to protect each other, when being affectionate with your friends is a good thing, and the people who want to police you out of doing that are weirdo freaks? I think we're all obligated, not only when we laugh at and participate in these jokes, but also when we participate in these narratives around women in general, to ask ourselves who it serves and what it upholds. Why are we placing our anger and our annoyance in the places where we put it? How often does it just so happen to be that there's a marginalized person we're allowed to vent all of that toward? And I want to be on record here predicting it. If some social media analysis comes out linking conservative influencers to the racist, bigoted bullying of Cynthia Erivo, I knew it and I called it. Think about who is served. And also, think about how much more slick this is than the way that those same types of idiots came after Leslie Jones for just being in the all-women Ghostbusters reboot. This time around, they're not saying it's about being angry about a black queer woman being cast as Elphaba, though let's be real, that is so clearly fucking part of it. They don't have to say that, though. They can get you to hate Cynthia just by feeding you clips that they tell you ought to find annoying. They can get you to tell everyone how tired you're getting of her, that she gives you bad vibes, that she's hysterical and annoying and overdramatic and aggressive. You don't think they're doing that because they're mad that a black woman played Elphaba? I think they're doing that because they're mad that a black woman played Elphaba. And it was important for such a talented black actress to play Elphaba on screen. That was so important, especially in terms of all the young black girls who will get to see that. Which, by the way, that's what Cynthia is actually getting emotional about in that clip that you've been told is her crying about a helicopter passing by. I sure wonder what motivation somebody might have to paint that moment in particular as something frivolous and annoying. It was important for her to be in this movie, and now this is important too, though so much less heartwarming. Those same young black girls will be seeing this too. Black women are seeing this. Black women have been commenting on this already because they know what this is and they see what this is. SZA commented on a short form video where somebody else was calling out the obvious misogynoir that she could identify in the way the internet has been characterizing Cynthia. SZA said,
"You're not bugging and no one is too woke. It's classic misogynoir, nothing else. Can't believe it's openly a thing in 2025. Everyone's gonna have cognitive dissonance 2 years later, like, remember when everyone attacked Cynthia for being blackballed and nurturing? That was crazy. It could just stop now. LOL."
And she's right. It could just stop now. You don't have to do it. Not this time, and not the next time another woman is algorithmically served up on a silver platter for you to hate. You do not have to participate in this sort of thing, no matter how many likes and hearts you earn when you recycle everyone else's unfunny jokes about it in a comment section. I know the empty validation feels good, but I promise you, using your brain feels much better. I do want to talk more about the demonization of friendship between women, and I most likely will be using Cynthia and Ariana to do so, but I didn't want this to be an Ariana Grande video. So other than where she had to come up because of Cynthia protecting her, I didn't really want to focus on her just yet. It feels inevitable that I will at some point though, so subscribe maybe if you want that eventually, or if you're interested in any of my other upcoming videos. I'll be posting a few more times before the end of the year. I'm working on videos about the mountain goats, bad Christmas movies, all sorts of things that my friends over on Patreon already know all about. Patreon is a great way to help support me financially, and you get previews of upcoming videos and a couple extra bonus videos there every month. And annual memberships are 25% off right now through the end of this month using the code THISYEAR if you're interested. Thank you to my Patreon friends, thank you also to my YouTube channel members, and to everyone who has sent me support via my Ko-fi for one-off donations, super chats, or super thanks. All of that is such an enormous help, and so is watching my videos all the way through to the end and sharing them with people who you think might enjoy what I'm doing here. Or even with people who you think need to learn how to ask what the joke is when they think woman hate is funny. I can tell them so you don't have to. I'll be back soon. I love you. Be nice to Cynthia Erivo.